Mayhem, the podcast where the Brothers Men take a deep dive into the discographies of our favorite metal bands. I'm your host, Brother Paul, joined, as ever, by my two brothers and co-hosts, Brother John
To war!
and Brother Dave.
What's up, my rats?
We are in our mini season 3.5 Forgotten Relics, where we are diving into the albums we had on repeat in our youth, but haven't listened to in decades. Today, I am bringing you Blind Guardian's 1998 power metal classic, Nightfall in Middle Earth. Join us as we head into the storm. Now, before I get started on explaining why I chose this album, I do need to give a shout out to my daughter Louise. She had her birthday party today, and she was like, she knew I was recording and said that she wanted a shout out. And she was like, and if you need a reason, if you need to link it somehow, you can just say, sometimes metal music can be very chaotic, and that was much like my birthday today. So shout out to you, Louise. She's always trying to do marketing for the podcast and wants us to, quote, have a strong podcast. So I love you. This one's for you.
I really appreciate the efforts there, niece Louise. Yeah, and
Yes.
happy birthday.
Yeah, it was very chaotic today. But they,
Much like metal
much
music.
like metal music. Okay. Well, trying to pick a forgotten relic was actually a really fun task because there's a fair amount of music I've moved on from, some of which I know isn't particularly technical or even good, but I really wanted something that would hopefully hold up. And I kept coming back to all the power metal bands I listened to as a kid. This album came out in 1998 and I turned 10 that year. And we would have discovered In Flames that following summer in 1999. And once we discovered In Flames, the race was on to find more metal bands. And not just like mellow death or any particular subgenre, but just metal bands. So for me, I listened to a wide range of genres, and there was a core group of power metal bands, like the German band Angel Dust, Steel Prophet, and Blind Guardian, that I really gravitated towards. And Nightfall in Middle Earth, I remember having this CD and listening to it a ton. And I knew it was a concept or story album about Tolkien's works, but this was pre-Wikipedia, so I'd be flipping through the booklet trying to figure out what was going on. And while I've definitely shifted away from power metal as I got older, I'm excited to dive into this one and see if it is as good as my 10-year-old self remembers. Before we dive into the personnel, do either of you brothers have any history with this album or just kind of power metal generally?
I have a lot of history with this album. I listened to this a ton when I was in college, probably in, the 2002 to 2006
Hmm.
years in there. And I've dipped my toes into power metal. I remember Dragon Force was huge at I think Through the
Hmm.
Fire and the Flames was probably towards the end of my college days. And that song blew up and everybody was huge into it.
Hmm.
You couldn't not listen to Dragon Force if you were into metal at that time. But I think I've always gravitated towards power metal adjacent music rather than like pure power metal. I think power metal itself can tend to be a little cheesy and like self-indulgent to a certain extent.
Hmm.
Um, but I love those big vocals. We called out Bjorn Speed straight on him and loved him every single time that he busted him out. I just was on the Did Not Go Platinum podcast, and Mercenary has those big power metal vocals. I love them there. I love when you've got non-power metal bands doing those vocal styles.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's pretty similar to how I am. So I listened to this a ton, the last week, and then I tried a couple other power metal bands, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can see why I drifted away from the genre. But Brother John,
Yeah,
history with this album, history with
so
power metal in
this
general.
yeah, this particular album, just looking back on my last FM, I know for sure that I listened to it in like 2011 and 2012 a couple of times, and I recall checking it out, and it didn't make a huge impression on me at the time. But I don't think I really listened to it way back in the day. So maybe like 15 years ago or so was like the first time I checked it out, and it didn't it wasn't like on repeat for me back then or anything like that. Power metal in general, like Sonata Arctica comes to mind. I know I've listened to, or I've got a few of their albums, and I think in particular Ecliptica, I want to say, is the one that I listen to a lot of theirs. So as far as like, I'd say they're pretty much just kind of like classic power metal, whereas a lot of the other stuff that I have listened to is more like extreme power metal, a la Children of Bodom and Kalma, Mors Principium S, that those kind of Finnish bands that are a little bit more extreme, I guess you would say. But yeah, I was excited that you picked this one because, well, we'll get into it, I guess. But I was glad to be rediscovering this after having only listened to it a couple times in the past.
Yeah. Well, this album released April 28th, 1998 via Virgin Records, which I think is the biggest record label we've had covered on this show. And playing on it are Hansi Kirsch, vocals, Andre Ulbrich, lead and acoustic guitar, Marcus Siepen, rhythm guitar, and Thomas Stauch, drums. Produced by the band and Flemming Rasmussen, who famously produced Metallica's Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. This is a sprawling concept album based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion. It has 22 tracks, half of which are short story interludes. We'll mostly be skipping over those and focusing on the actual song tracks, but Wikipedia has a good breakdown of what each song is about. It is just under 66 minutes, and it kicks off with track number one, War of Wrath, which is an opening narration in which Sauron advises his master Morgoth to flee the triumphant Valar in the War of Wrath. Morgoth sends him away and reflects on the events leading up to his defeat. But then we get into it with track number two, Into the Storm, the first proper song. What a fucking opening. It is unrelenting and powerful. And we're getting just a great showcase of Hansi's singing abilities. He's so emotive and he has such range, and musically there is so much going on in this song, and it seems like every time I listened to it I would discover a new layer. Like I think it was probably the third or fourth time I was like, oh, they're doing a dive bomb at like 113 going into the second verse, and it's wonderful to just pick up all those little flourishes. It's such a fun, exciting song. There's a solo instrumental break at 2:19. This song is an absolute banger, brother Dave.
I could not agree more. This song just shreds from beginning to end. It's incredible. And it does have like just all of the stuff going on in it, but it's
Hmm.
mixed so well. It doesn't sound chaotic. It sounds just full. One thing that I liked that I hadn't noticed previously is that in 19 seconds, we have a church bell in there. Um, and the tone on the guitar on this album is so unique. It is, you hear it and you're like, That's Blind Guardian. You could
Hmm.
hear
Hmm.
1 second of this guitar and you know exactly who this band is. And it's not something I've heard anywhere before. I don't even really know how to describe it other than you'll cut in a clip. And it's just like, it's such an interesting tone to choose and it fits the music so well.
Mm.
And then, man, Hansi's vocals are so good. He is so emotive and he does such big chorus vocals with just a zillion different layers and different harmonies in the background. Makes it so big and so singable. It's so good, Brother John.
Boys, you pretty much hit it all. I think I'll just be essentially reiterating everything you just said, but like from the moment this one starts, the very first note, the epic guitars come in, it's like, holy shit, this is it. Hell yeah. It's just awesome. Just pumps you up. And at all times, I feel like this song is just like constantly building and then releasing energy. And the more I listen to it, the more pumped up I get. The chorus hook, we are following the will of the one. It's just so good. Oh man, it's been constantly getting stuck in my head all week. So, in the greatest of ways, so yeah, I mean, we're off to a phenomenal start with this banger of a track.
Which takes us to track number three, Lamoth, which is another interlude, and that is Morgoth's scream of fear. It summons his Balrogs to his aid to fight off Ungoliant. Which brings us to track number four, Nightfall. Brother Dave.
Another masterpiece. This song is so good. I have written far too many notes for it. I think what I'm going to focus on is the structure. They've got such an interesting way of writing this entire album, and it's shown off here in the verses. Their verses in particular are just kind of interesting throughout this album
Hmm.
in that there's basically no set structure on their verses. They're just like, I'm going to sing some verses the until we go to the chorus, and the chorus is going to tie it all together. And in the verses they do this like back and forth conversational thing between his main vocals and then every now and then, seemingly at random, but it works, he'll have like choral vocals like answering his main vocals. And so it's like a very storytelling conversational style that they have here. And like every verse completely different structure. It's wild that it works, but it works so well. And this one is another like big building song and then reaching that big crescendo in the chorus. So like in the verses starts off real chill, but then by the end of it at like 108, he's like screaming basically and spilled the first blood when the old king was slain. And it's just such masterful escalation that you get throughout here. And I mean, Hansi's the standout again. I want to open up our segment Growls and Howls because you could put this almost anywhere because his vocals are so good on this album. But I think at 225, when he says, the words of the banished king, I swear revenge.
The words of the Vatican, I swear revenge, filled with anger, aflame the heart, full of hate, full of pride.
It's just so good. He's got a couple of different vocal styles, and every single one of them works perfectly. I'm going to stop gushing, Brother John.
Yeah. Well, and this one starts out with basically woodwind flutes and minstrel type grandpa's guitars. I mean, it's like a
Mhm.
straight up folk ballad. And I guess at the very beginning, you don't really know where it's headed, but you're like, okay, this is folky and I like that, So whenever
Mhm.
you get a little of that flair tossed in a metal song, it's like, okay, cool. And then, again, at a minute 15 seconds, they get to the chorus and it's like, Nightfall. It's like, oh, fuck, they're laying another banger on us. These guys are nailing it.
Nightfall, crime encrypted and changed us all. Nightfall.
So, it's just exciting that, every actual song, they got these little interlude things, but the actual songs are just so good. I mean, just so epic and full of, goodness. And yeah, that building and that release in the chorus. And then at the end, they kind of take us out with more of the folky minstrel music. What a ride.
I also used the phrase like minstrel-esque for that intro because
Mhm.
it's perfect, medieval fantasy music, and then the rest of the song, it's this swelling and triumphant crescendo. And so in the lead up to that, I swear revenge, like the guitars get real sneaky at 209, and then it hits, that crescendo
Mhm.
of I swear. It's so good. And at the 4 minute mark, the line, never turn your back on friends, always stands out to me.
That
You
one.
know,
Never trust the northern wind. Never turn your back on friends. Oh, on head of the high road. You better not trust him.
That one makes me laugh. And the line that comes after it,
Yeah.
oh, I'm Hair of the High Lord. You'd better not trust him.
it's
It
yes.
does make me laugh.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, it's typical power metal fare of it's the most, fantasy thing, and it's cheesy, but not, it treads that line perfectly. And
I
it's
think that part is really the only part in this whole album that
yes.
falls into cheese. The
Yeah.
rest of it is so well delivered that this part stands out as being kind of
Right.
out of place.
Right. Oh my God. And yeah, the conversational, like he is doing multiple points of view, and it's it's essentially just like a rock opera in a way. Like they've made this power
Absolutely.
metal rock opera, and the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I want to see this on stage. I
Oh,
need,
yeah.
Mhm.
or I just need Peter Jackson to make movies based off this with music by Blind Guardian to have them cameo somewhere, as elves or, Balrogs or what have you. So yes, this song is fantastic. I do want to open up our segment, lyrical tactics, vocal gymnastics,
Lyrical tactics, vocal gymnastics.
just very quickly, because there's not a lot of interpretation that goes into this because it's a story album, but this song has just been sitting with me because in the story, it's the elves kind of sitting in the ashes of their homeland after Morgoth has destroyed the two trees of light and stolen the gems, the Silmarils, and they're sitting around and kind of cursing what has happened and where they go from there. And the chorus is, Nightfall quietly crept in and changed us all. And I was thinking about that in the context of our political climate today and just
Mhm.
how when did when did it become so dark in the United States in 2026 as we record this? When did Nightfall and when did it creep in and when did it change us all? And part of the story is that Morgoth had like prior to launching his assault on their land, like he sowed deceit and misinformation and planted doubt
Mhm.
in their minds. And we don't need to dwell on this too much, but like this song has just been sitting with me for the past week, and that's all I got.
Yeah, like it's a fantasy story, but good fantasy speaks truth.
Hmm.
And I mean, fascism existed in the days of Tolkien, also.
Yeah,
And so, of course, he maybe put that in his stories. And he was a good storyteller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which takes us to track number 5, The Minstrel, another interlude, most likely about Maglor, son of Feanor, who composed the song The Fall of the Noldor, based on the kinslaying, which so okay, so the elves, their homeland gets wrecked and they're like, we swear revenge, let's go after Morgoth, and then they go and there's another group of elves who have all these boats to take them to Middle Earth, and they're like, we're not going to give you our boats. And then Feanor and all the other elves are like, well, we're going to attack you and take your boats. And so they kill, their elf cousins, and kinslaying's a big deal. And that's that. And now we are on to track number 6, The Curse of Feanor. Brother John.
Yeah, this one starts out kind of dark and brooding, but with a sense of urgency. And it launches into this double kick and guitar riffing with, again, more epic vocals. And so another one, it sounds like we're in for something else pretty sweet here. Another catchy chorus coming in at about a minute 8, where it's like, don't fear the eyes of the Dark Lord. And then I will take part in your damned fate. It's just another banger of a catchy chorus. Yeah, the whole song just kind of evokes images of conflict and epic struggle between Fëanor and Morgoth. So, I think they're really painting great musical images. Like you said, it would be awesome to see an actual, like, if they would give it sort of the Pink Floyd The Wall treatment and make a whole movie to go along with this album, that
Mm-hmm.
would be pretty rad. And then I would definitely watch it over and over again. I can only assume. Yeah, at 401, there's some sweet guitar noodling, and then they have this whole like guitar build part. Which sounds like really it was potentially the inspiration for some of the epic death clock riffs that Squisgar lays on us in some of their songs. So I don't know how much specifically this band influenced Brendan Small and his songwriting, but I kind of caught some similarities between what Death Clock does and what they're doing here. And obviously this predates Death Clock. So, could have been a good influence on them. Brother Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, we are 3 for 3 on bangers on this album so far. This song, it's just awesome. Vocally, we have that huge chorus that is just so easy to sing, so easy to shout to. I think the interesting thing musically that they're doing here is doing a lot of transitions into and out of halftime. And like there's just a kind of push and pull on the tempo that we're keeping, which keeps this one real interesting. I spied another sneaky little dive bomb at 2:42. Just so many little flourishes throughout. And I do love their solos are like solos. Their solos are usually like 50 seconds long. They're like
Mm-hmm.
20% of the song is just them playing, and it's great. I love this
Mm-hmm.
song.
Yeah, the intro guitars, especially on this one, are flawless. But I mean, really, again, it's the Hansi show, and he is putting so much resolve into these lyrics, and he does such a great job of conveying the emotional weight of these words. It's a really heavy topic. It's Feanor the king, who's killed a whole bunch of his elf cousins. He's reflecting on everything he's done in his quest for revenge and reckoning with that and realizing, like, you know what? I've put a curse upon myself and my entire bloodline, and I'm gonna have to live with that. But guess what? I'm alive and I'm still going after Morgoth. Like,
Yep.
it's it's wonderful. It's a wonderful lyrical topic. It's a great story. Again, they've Tolkien was a great writer, and built this great world. And the lyrics are just so powerful. And he captures that. And just musically, it's a powerhouse. Like three for three of straight up bangers, just like flawless songs. It's incredible. Which takes us to track number seven, Captured, which is another interlude, and it is broad villainous laughter.
You are now my guest forever.
It's so good. Which takes us to track number eight, Blood Tears. And I'm gonna say it, another banger. When the drums kick in at 57 seconds, and then he does this anguished falsetto into the chorus. It's so good. We get a quick solo at 229 with some real backing, like marching kind of style drums. And after the bridge, the solo comes back at like 312, even stronger. And it's, I think, more of a mid-tempo jam at that point, but there's so much emotion in it. Like you have to love it. And I do just want to point out that this is the second song that we've covered about blood tears. The first being Demon Hunter's Blood in the Tears, where they wish all who oppose them will literally weep blood. And this song is about a person who was betrayed and he's been held in solitary confinement for 30 years, weeping literal blood. So take from that what you will. Demon Hunter are heretics. Brother John.
Yeah, another awesome song. And, I don't necessarily need to rehash everything you said, but I do want to call out at about a minute 33, it gets intense with the distorted chugging guitars. And then the line, my mind's in frozen dreams, rotten flesh of bitter lies. And the reference to flesh just makes me laugh because lately my 5-year-old daughter Ruby thinks that just references to flesh are hilarious. And she probably thinks that because I laugh every time she says it. And she'll do like kind of an evil voice and be talking about flesh. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's like some Halloween rhyme or something. I want to say it's like, there was an old lady, all skin and bones. Ooh. And Ruby changed the word. She's like, there was an old lady, all flesh and flesh. Ooh.
I mean, that's just funny.
Oh,
it is pretty silly.
and
So when I heard rotten flesh in the song, I was like, oh, Ruby would probably love this song. But then I was playing this in the car the other day and the kids were not happy. But I was like, you know what? It's my turn to pick for once. I got to listen to this. This is good questing music. So it's good for driving around. And also at 3 minutes, 12 seconds on this track, we get a harmonized guitar solo, just a showcase of them sounding rad on the guitars. And it just sounds so good. Brother Dave, did we miss anything about this?
I don't think we really missed anything other than kind of the random noises that they figure they're gonna fit in here. We've got like chimes at the beginning. You don't hear that too often. So like to hear it. And then this was another one that I specifically noted that they've got just really creative use of where they're putting additional vocals. Like he'll do half a line of harmonization or something here or there, and it seems unstructured where he puts it, but it works in the music, and it's so interesting how they write these songs. I love it. And the other part that I really liked in this song was at 250 when it just drops down kind of in between the solo parts.
mhm.
The energy gets real low and he does and the cruel winds blowing cold part. And I just like it. I like the dynamics they work in there.
Yeah. Well, that takes us to track number 9, Mirror, Mirror, Brother Dave.
Oh man, another banger? Are we gonna run out of bangers? I
How,
guess.
how
I
can
don't
I
know.
hold all these bangers?
So
Oh,
far, it's a limitless supply.
one thing I noticed about this one, I mean, like, this is a lot of the same stuff we've been talking about. It is a very consistent album, but one thing I noticed is their rhythm guitars are pretty standard power metal rhythm guitars, which is almost punk at times, where it's like they'll hit the power chord and then just like jam on that root note real
Hmm.
fast. But they mix it really far back, which is contrary to a lot of power metal, where I think the guitars are mixed like super far forward. And I think it works really well what they have done here. And I think that makes this their style like more approachable to me, where it doesn't this semi-punk element doesn't get obnoxious or overwhelming, but it still drives the song and it keeps the focus where it's supposed to be, which is largely on the vocals. We get a lot more of those folk elements coming in into the second verse. And they kind of go back and forth between power metal and folk, which works really well. And they have a lot of kind of call and response elements in this song, which is very interesting. And I love it. Brother Paul?
Yeah, it has a good ominous intro, and then the verses are just so fast and aggressive. And I think the pre-chorus is so good, but goddamn, that chorus is so catchy. This is one
Hmm.
of the songs that I remembered, like, word for word, almost 30 years after having first had this album. Like, this is one of either this and there's one other song in a little bit that I distinctly remembered, and
I know.
we all know the one. And I think to your point about it being like talking about the guitars, on this one, I noticed the guitars are just like, I use the term, they're sliding around, with their notes.
Hmm.
It's really cool. I love it. And we got some real good power metal soloing on this one. Like, it's a great song, Brother
Yeah.
John.
I mean, you guys yet again have nailed it. I mean, we can't sing this album's praises enough, it seems. This song just really slaps, that catchy chorus, mirror, mirror on the wall, true hope lies beyond the coast. It's like, oh man, it just gets me in the heart when I hear it. It's like so anthemic and epic. And then at 2:30, they've got these galloping double kick, on the drums, slapping us in our bean bags. It's like, holy crap, this song just rules. It was by this point in the album that I realized we probably have to create a new segment, which I want to open up right now. And I'm going to call it Dan Flashes. And that is to say, this album, I got to just declare that this album is my exact style.
I found this badass store called Dan Flashes. That's my exact style.
And so, I mean, just the folk infused power metal. It's like, this is checking all the boxes of what I really want to hear in an album. So I just had to create that new segment to spread the word.
Well, Brother John, you did let us know that there was, in fact, a video for
Yes, that's
this.
what I was
For
about to
this. Yeah.
say.
So open us up with video killed the power metal star, and tell us all about this one.
Yeah, so I was intrigued to find out that there was a video. Then I watched it and I was like, well, they could have done better for a video on this. It's basically just them in the studio. It's like behind the scenes shots of them like hanging out between recording and of them actually recording the album or this song in the studio. as far as the video goes, it's like, okay, this is about the bare minimum you could probably do. What we need, like I said before, is an epic video, something to match the epicness of these songs. And so they have not provided that to us, but maybe someday someone will, give it the full, Pink Floyd's The Wall feature-length film treatment. We can only hope.
Yeah, I just want to say at one point, there's Hansi is singing, and then it cuts to the control booth, and two of the guys just like raise their arms and like success. So it's,
They, they seem like really wholesome dudes.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love a good behind the scenes video.
I guess
We,
it could have been worse, but it could have been so much better.
yes,
It just kind of was slapped together, it seemed.
There
yeah,
wasn't a single elf.
no.
yeah.
That's a missed opportunity.
Which
True.
takes us to track number 10, Face the Truth, which is another interlude. It's a quick narrative section from Fingolfin, who is going to be one of the heroes of our stories. He is the half-brother of Feanor, and he's reflecting on, oh man, us elves we're kind of damned. We're not doing so hot. Let's look back at all our misdeeds. Which takes us to track number 11, Noldor, Dead Winter Rains, Brother John.
Yeah, this one starts with some kind of pretty guitar picking and a little bit of cymbal work. So kind of a soft start. But before long, by about 13 seconds, they give us those deep power chord strums. We can feel that this one is going to have some gravitas to it. At 51 seconds, there's kind of an interesting guitar picking part that coincides with the verse that starts, we were lost on grinding ice in fear and hunger.
We were lost on grinding ice in fear and hunger. That winter rain in our
Has sort of like a creepy or mysterious vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure what that part is talking about, but it sounds like, some different people narrating their experience. And I just kind of liked what they were doing with the guitars. It sounded kind of interesting and unique. A lot more vocal dynamics on this one that are just great again. We keep saying it over and over, but just so much power and emotion flowing through the vocals here. They give us another great dual guitar harmonized interlude starting at about 3:30. And I really like the solos on this album. They're not overly flashy and they're usually not super fast, but they're totally laden with melody and they're doing interesting stuff. So, some power metal stuff I feel like gets a little bit too wanky on the guitars. This album does not come across that way. Just seems perfectly fitting for what they're trying to do and nothing boring about it. Just another banger. So, so far, 100% bangers on this album. Brother Dave?
Yeah, I think the standout on this song is that kind of different tonal thing that they're doing with the clean guitars that shows up at a couple of different points in here. Kind of makes you sit up and be like, oh, this is new, which we're halfway through the album at this point. So throwing in some little curveballs for us, I think continues to keep it interesting. And man, just huge gang vocals in the chorus. And they do that almost all the time, but they really stood out to me on this song particularly. This is our longest solo to date. It is, well, maybe not to date. I don't know. It's over a minute long and it's just good. It kind of works that slower pace of the song. This again with their verses, the third verse comes in. It's structurally completely different than everything we've heard before. It's like, what are they doing? How are they coming up with this? Why does it work so well? And then the standout part of this song is at 6 minutes and 12 seconds where he screams lies for like 5 or 6 seconds. Brother Paul?
Yes. So I want to say I like this song, but I seem to be less positive about it than you boys. This is still a good song, though. I'm not gonna have you bully me like you did on that Soilwork episode.
I'm only giving this one a slaps rating instead of a
Yes.
banger.
So this one, I think it is a tad bit long. It's still really good. Yeah, the second verse where it gets that kind of like groovy, mysterious little, pick part. It's so good. There's a lot of tempo shifting in this one. Like I
Mhm.
said it was kind of ADD. They're just doing a lot. They're going between different tempos and whatnot. The chorus, it's so big, and those gang vocals, my God. And after the solo at 425, it gets like real dark, and that whole bridge section is great. So this is a good song. It is not quite up to the, what has it been, five straight up bangers that have come before. Um, but it's still a really good song, which takes us to track number 12, Battle of Sudden Flame. Another interlude. It's just kind of like a little bardic flute interlude,
Mhm.
which takes us to track number 13, Time Stands Still at the Iron Hill. And what a super fucking epic start. Like just searing guitar work. This one and Mirror Mirror, these are the two that I distinctly remember, close to 30 years after getting this album. This whole song is a duel between Fingolfin and Morgoth, and it is awesome. Like, go read all about it. It's the pre-chorus into the chorus is so good and rousing. This song is beyond a banger. It's a triumph. Like, I don't feel I can do justice of just how good this song is, Brother Dave.
Hard agree. This song is so good. Right when it starts off, you know it's going to be epic. And they've built our trust with the first half of this album. I know they're not going to let me down. And man, they do not. We get just epic power metal. We get super folksy pre-chorus, like with the Lord of all Noldor, and then they like do some folksy stuff after it. This chorus, I mean, the chorus is the standout here, but everything else supports it so well. Yeah, just go listen to this song 100 times. Brother
Yeah.
John?
Well, I have started on that quest. I didn't quite get 100 times yet, but I don't know, probably close to 10 times over the last week. Because, yeah, this song is a triumph. And these guys just weave together power and folk metal so well. It's like a perfect blend, kind of like I was saying before. This is my exact style. Like the power metal isn't too over the top, it doesn't come off as cheesy, and the folk metal is present enough to add a lot of zazz without getting old. I feel like sometimes you can overdo the folk side of metal, kind of depends. But this album, in a way, kind of reminded me of Turasas, the Varangian Way. I don't know if that's how it's
Mm-hmm.
pronounced, but
Mm-hmm.
that one, just from start to finish, also is just very epic, anthemic, just full of bangers. But this album by Blind Guardian is a lot more power metal influence than Turasas. But I listened to that one this past week too. I was like, yep, that one's still awesome also.
So
So
funny that you should bring up Turasas because the other day I was speaking with Sister Julia and I was like, "You're big into Blind Guardian. We're doing this album." And then she was like, "Oh, that's awesome." Is we got talking about concept albums and
Mm-hmm.
story albums, and I was like, "You know what it's like? It's like that Turasas album, The Varangian Way. You should go listen to that one too." And she was like, "I will." And then yesterday texted me and was like, "This album's awesome."
yeah.
So, yeah, similarities.
Yeah, they both really pumped me up in a great way. And also, I just got to call out, we're not going to really get into the specifics of what the song meanings comments say. But on this song in particular, I noticed that a lot of the comments, it's basically guys arguing about their various interpretations of what happened in the Silmarillion, or just adding additional details to what other commenters missed. And there was a little name calling in the comments on this song, which I won't repeat, but Captain J. Greasy called user Nathan a name that did make me laugh, but it was pretty offensive. But I just thought it was kind of hilarious how a lot of the comments from song meanings is like, well, actually, those kind of guys are, laying it on us what actually happened and what the song is actually about. So, go check it out for yourself if you want a little light reading.
Well, track number 14 is another interlude. It's a lot of chanting, and it's about a real bad dude who I think betrays the hidden city of the elves and is just a shifty character. Track 15, Thorn, Brother John.
All right. So this one has some crunchy guitars right at the very beginning of the intro, but then it goes kind of soft and it's like, oh man, is this going to be a snoozer? Have we reached a second half slump? But then we didn't, because we get to 58 seconds. It takes a hard and epic turn. It's like, oh, hell yeah, it's on, boys. Grab your swords and axes and shields. We're going questing again. And I got to open up our segment, Sick Riffs and Tasty Licks. And really, there's been so many of these throughout the whole album, but just at a minute, 2 seconds, the guitar line they lay on us is just sick as fuck and quite tasty.
Oh, I'm trapped in darkness. Still I reach out for the stars. I'm moving in silence.
And this signals that this song is not going to be a soft snoozer, but rather it's going to be hard and rad. So, I mean, they just give us more harmonious guitar goodness, more powerful vocal deliveries. It's just, yeah, I don't know. They're just doing it again, giving us another banger. So it's kind of crazy how every single song on this album has been epic and diverse. And I feel like they'll do kind of follow a similar pattern where they're just like building up with intensity and epic anthemic greatness. They lay a catchy, hooky chorus on us and they give some harmonized solos with the guitars. But every song hits and they don't sound samey. They're diverse enough that each one kind of feels like its own thing and they don't seem repetitive. So, mad props, Blind Guardian. You did it again with Thorn. Brother Dave?
Yeah, this one is slower and moodier. I think I'd kind of classify this kind of as a ballad. It's got a winding verse structure even for this album. It meanders through this song, and I also feel like the chorus is probably the least memorable of the choruses we've hit so far. I do not recall the tune of it right now, even though I've written down the words. So this one for me did struggle to stand out. Less because it's a bad song, which it is not, but because of just all the absolute glory that has come before it, that like, can they keep it up for the rest of the album? I do start having some doubts at this point, but we will see. Brother Paul?
These are the notes that I have written. This is what I put down first. The verses are almost ballad-like. The song is fine and perhaps important to the story, but it isn't great. It has some good elements, but ultimately not one I'm seeking out as a standalone. But then on my second pass, I, wrote my notes and then I kept listening to the album and I wrote this. I said, you know what? Actually, the more I re-listen to it, the more I'm really into this song. So the guitars on this one kept getting stuck in my head. So it's doing something right. I think it is maybe not as memorable or catchy as, the songs that came before it. It's still good though, which takes us to track number 16, The Eldar, Brother Dave.
I thought that putting this one here was a bold choice because they'd already slowed it down on the previous song, and this one slows it down even more. But it works. I feel like because we're telling a story through the entire album, this feels like the growing darkness that things were getting bad and now they're getting worse. And this one is just piano. I don't think they play guitars on this one. Am I wrong here?
I think you're right.
It's all piano.
Yeah, it's entirely piano and it is really well executed. Super tasteful harmonies throughout vocally. Again, all three verses are completely different tunes, but they all work. And we get that just really, really great delivery from Hansi at 234 with I Say Farewell.
I say farewell. I say farewell.
Yeah, there's so much emotion in this song. I like it. Brother John?
Like we said, piano and vocals essentially, and mostly soft, cleaner kind of vocals. At 2 minutes or 2 minutes and 2 seconds or so, he gets a little unhinged with his vocals, and the piano is just banging away, just going after it, and really starts rocking at that part.
I still fear. Soon my spirit will return.
It's kind of a soft song, but they're, showing us what can be done with just vocals and a piano. Almost struck me as something like from Phantom of the Opera, although I guess that's more of an impression because I don't know that I've actually ever seen Phantom of the Opera, but it just seems like the vibes that, someone just sort of like a tortured soul singing their heart out in sort of epic grandeur. For a softer, more subdued song, it's kind of a banger, really. And just, again, shows the range that the vocalist has here.
Yeah, it's a piano ballad. It's tough because so much of the album before it has just been just these fast power metal bangers, and then to slow it down like this is an interesting choice. I think, Orcs narratively, I think it works for the album also ultimately, but it's not something that I'm like, I'm excited about this song. I'm not like pumped when the Eldar comes on. But but it doesn't detract. It's probably even necessary. So, it's one of those things where even though I'm not like hyped for it, like the album I think would suffer if it wasn't on there. But the vocals he does at that 2 minute mark, I had those called out too. It's so good. Which takes us to track number 17, Gnome the Wise, which is another interlude, a narrative track. But it's a friend of Finrod who he was the Eldar that died in the last song, and it's his friend lamenting him. And then we are on to song number 18, When Sorrow Sang. All right. After that 2 song slowdown, we are back. And I like that this song lyrically it's about the most beautiful and haunting love song that was ever sang, and it was so powerful that it moved the gods to basically bend the rules and bring people back to life so that they could be together. And rather than make it a piano ballad or something like that, they just make an awesome rock and power metal song out of it, which I think is awesome. I love that choice. At 2:28, he gives us this great scream, and then we get like a minute of dueling guitar solos, and the outro on this one is great. It's a bop, brother Dave.
Yeah, I feel like tonally this one is more celebrating that the gods bent the rules rather
Mhm.
than retelling the story, right, as it was intended to be experienced.
Yeah.
which is fun, and it is good to for this album to pick up the energy again. I do find the start of this song very jarring. There were a couple of times where I was kind of listening to this in the background, and then this song came on, and I was like, wait, did we switch albums or something? What's going on here? And I had to check. So
I
this
gotta
one,
say, the very beginning, those jarring guitars reminded me a little bit of whatever that first song by Tourniquet on Microscopic View of a Telescopic Realm, where it's got those jarring guitars. Like, I don't know if the guitar tone just sounds the same, and it's still a slightly discordant sound. Luckily, the similarities ended there between the songs, but
Mhm.
at first I was like, "Ooh, that's giving me vibes of this Tourniquet song that I didn't love."
Yeah. So this one is a lot of fun. I don't think it reaches the highs that some of the earlier songs reached, but it is
Hmm.
fun. And one thing, I don't think we've really been giving their drummer all of the accolades that he deserves. I feel he's mixed kind of he's foundational to the mix, but he's not standout in the mix. So it's easy to overlook when he's doing a lot of fun stuff. And he is doing some fun stuff. I called out his just he's doing some snare gallops at 142. And I think it eventually like doubles up with guitar gallops that they put on top of it. Thought it was fun. And that's kind of my takeaway of this song. It is a fun song, whereas much of the rest of the album has been epic. So tonally, a little bit different. I still like it. Brother
Hmm.
John?
Yeah, I was gonna call out that same section where he's doing that snare stuff, like at 142, kind of a snare roll building up section, and that then at 203, there's this fun kind of riffy, zazzy guitar part with the drums, giving us a little bit more of a snare showcase. So that whole little section there for 20 or 30 seconds was pretty cool, I thought.
I feel like screaming, I can't breathe and shy away. I will not leave.
But yeah, pretty much everything that you guys said. Another great track. Still no complaints on this album.
I think I just want to address the drummer. Yes, he is good. I think the issue is that on the Eldar, the piano ballad, he wasn't doing blast beats all throughout like Buren would have done.
Yeah,
So
that was a missed opportunity.
that's
Yeah.
why,
They gotta get Dirk in there to
release the
get rid of this
Verburen
guy.
cut.
as a yeah, he could maybe tutor this guy in the ways of how to actually do some blast beats.
Which takes us to track number 19, Out on the Water. It's another quick little interlude bardic song, which takes us to track number 20, The Steadfast, which is another interlude where Morgoth does some gloating. Just a little fun. And then track number 21, the final song, A Dark Passage, Brother John.
Oh, hell yeah. This is a great ender song. It starts with some dark symphonic or orchestral sounding elements, and then another just insanely epic anthemic chorus that comes in at a minute 8, where he's like, smashed down the light. I will not rest till I'm king.
Smash down the line. I will not rest till I'm king. But innocent in the world of the awesome and they shall be done. Rise or fall, I'll die.
Oh, that part slaps so hard. Hell yeah. And every time they come back to it, it's just like, fuck yeah, smash down the light. It's so cool. They give us a lengthy solo slash musical interlude. And then at 319, just launch back into the chorus again. And every time it's just, I want to pump my fist. And then it ends with sort of like the war drums. And it's like
Mhm.
slowly marching on. and it kind of fades out with that stuff. And I think it's just a great end to the album, an album overflowing with amazing epics. This is just a final amazing epic to cap it off. And just, the story is never really done. It's just, slowly marching on.
Brother
Brother
Dave.
Dave. Tell us more.
uh yeah, there's this one. I want to like this one more than I do. It's again not a bad song, but I feel like we lost, or I mean lost, we purposely took the energy down for Thorn and the Eldar. And I think they struggle to regain that energy and the sense of purpose and direction that the first half of this album had. And so while it's a good song and it does have that great chorus, it it feels kind of maybe incomplete or not quite as grandiose as I would hope for the Ender song here. And so while I like it, I'm left a little torn with how it ends, right? I like the marching, slowly marching on outro that we're doing. I like kind of a lot of what they're doing in the middle of this song, but it just doesn't grab me as much as I want to be grabbed. And that makes me a little sad. Brother Paul?
I am very much in the Brother Dave camp. This one to me lacks urgency. There are a lot of good moments and elements in this song, but I don't think it comes together quite how it should. It should be a bit bigger. It's just missing a little bit of a spark to take it from good to great, I think is what it is. It is a good song. It's a
Mhm.
solid song. I think at 121 he does the rise of fall. A dark tale ends, like that section is great, but they're missing just something to really kick it up to that next level. So I'm very much aligned with you. Which takes us to the final track, track number 22, final chapter, thus ends. And this is the ending narration through treachery, and Morgoth has won. He has triumphed. He's defeated the alliance of elves and men, and he's king. I mean, he's still troubled by a hidden king who nags at him and worries him, but the album ends with him victorious, evil triumphing. But the album also started with how that ends, which is he's hidden in a bunker fleeing. um, so evil isn't always triumphant.
And it ends, the last thing it says is, though the land dies down in agony and the curse lives on, a new star shall rise and a new day shall come again. So
Mm-hmm.
it, like, yes, it ends on a downbeat, but it also says there's still hope.
Yes.
And I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that how they started the album was, Morgoth defeated and fleeing in the future events, and then he's basically thinking back on, well, this is how I got there. This is how I won. Little mustache twirl.
A
So
little record scratch. You're
yeah.
probably wondering how I got here.
Release a 90s version of this where David Spade is Morgoth, please. There are some bonus tracks which we will not be covering because growing up, I didn't have those. They're not part of my memory. They're not part of my forgotten relic. But it looks like there are up to 3 bonus tracks. Check them out. And with that, let's kick it over to our resident rankings expert, Brother John.
All right, you Tolkien heads. Our final segment is Bop or Flop, where we decide, does the album slap or is it crap? We have honed our patented 6 tier ranking system, going from 6 all the way down to 1. We have the bops, a perfect 6, unassailable. God has truly shined his divine light on this album. A 5, like to stand on that thing, a banger we could easily listen to again and again. A 4, or that's doable, a very solid album worth checking out. And of course, there's the flops, which I feel like hardly need mentioning here, but I'll just run through them. A 3, it lacks zazz. A 2, sorry, it's not my cup of tea. And a 1 belongs in a garbage can. Well, boys, what an incredible album. Thanks, Brother Paul, for picking this one. Because, like I said, I had heard it a couple times in the past, but didn't really soak in how great it was. So I was super happy to have rediscovered this and kind of dived into all its epic glory over the last week. I mean, the songs here have just been constantly stuck in my head all week long. Probably added at least like 5 or 6 of these songs to my stuck in my head playlist on my music player. So I will certainly be listening to those again and again when I listen to that. But just the songwriting and storytelling on this album is incredible. They somehow create a whole album of memorable tracks, banger after banger, laden with emotion, power, beauty, awesome catchy riffs, vocal hooks. I was thinking if we were to redo our season 3 5 song EPs, but including this album, my EP would essentially just be 5 songs off this album. And I'd be sad that there's only 5 songs to put on the EP because there's more than 5 epic songs on this one. I think there's like 10 or something. But this, I gotta say, this is probably my new favorite folk metal album. They do a great job of weaving those folk elements seamlessly in with the power metal elements, and it just creates something most epic and most beautiful. So basically, I love this album. I can't find any flaws in it. I have to give this one a 6.66. Iluvatar has truly shined all of his divine light on this album, and everybody really needs to do themselves a favor and give this a good listen. And, if you feel bogged down with all the middle tracks, just create an album without those, which is what I did initially. And it's like banger after banger, no 30-second fillers in between. That's a nice way to listen to it as well. But I do appreciate the whole grand tale with all those filler tracks as well. So, you do you, but everybody needs to give this a listen. Brother Dave?
This album is incredible, and I feel like Brother John, who really hadn't listened to it that much in the past. I had listened to it a lot in the past, but I felt like I got more out of it coming back to it now. I love that Blind Guardian has built a sound that's immediately recognizable,
Mhm.
like from Hansi's vocals to the guitar tone, even to the levels at which everything is mixed. Like it's all unique and it's all so good. Their compositional skills, impeccable, and they really take that power metal foundation and seamlessly layer in like symphonic and folk and prog influences in such a way that the songs, they're just always doing something that is keeping my interest and never like straying into the excesses of power metal. We've got so many truly huge choruses in this album, and just I love the unique storytelling style of their verses, and like the pacing and memorability of the songs does falter in the second half, but that's almost just because the first half is so good, not that the second half is bad.
Mhm.
And like this is a close to perfect album, and I'm happy to come back to it 20 years later. And I found myself putting it on immediately after it finished, which is a testament to just how engrossing this album is. I've got to give it a 6. It is a certified banger.
I love this album. I remember liking it as a kid, but the first time I re-listened to it for this podcast, I almost lost my mind at how great it is. God, Hansi's voice is immaculate, and the production is on point. Like I think we referenced the production a little bit, but it sounds so good.
Yeah.
So
Especially for being recorded in 1998. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yes, that I mean that was something that stood out. Is like it's even late '90s production was fine. It wasn't great, but this it sounds wonderful, and the musically it's just fantastic. It's a dynamic album. It never comes across as cheesy, bar that one line that you pointed out. I mean, it absolutely holds up, almost 30 years after its release. There's a few moments that I am just not personally wild about, but this album is, I think, the undeniable peak of power metal. And as such, I have to give it a 6. Well, brothers and sisters, that's all for this week. Stay tuned for the next episode where Brother John presents his forgotten relic, Under Oath's 2002 breakthrough album, The Changing of Times. Until then, may the metal be with you.
And
And
also,
also with you.
Thank you.